Okay, lovely. So good morning and welcome everybody. And thank you so much for joining us today. And so what we have today is our bonus session. As we said, we are celebrating our 10th year anniversary of the CCRAF. And so we have added a bonus session. And with that bonus session, we have two persons presenting for us. So you even get bonus personnel, and both are professors. And so we want to thank them for agreeing to present this session for us today. So my name is Nikelia Gregor-Karai. I'm a technical specialist in soil and water management with ICA, and along with my colleague, Dr. Chani Sen Martin, we coordinate the CCRAF. And so this year, this is our part 4 of our 3+1 for the CCRAF webinar series. This is the series where the certificate of participation is attached to these sessions. So for persons who would have attended 2 or more of the sessions will receive a certificate of participation. And so I do want to believe that our regular participants remember our objectives. But before I get into that, of course, please mute your mic so that we don't cause too much distractions during the presentations. If possible, you could turn on your camera so we can see the faces. We have the raise hand function for persons who are probably new to Zoom. It's normally at the bottom. You'll see the options to use the raise hand feature if you have a question during the question discussion section. Please note, the session will be recorded. Yes, the PowerPoint will be shared. The recording will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, so you don't necessarily have to wait for my email. So within a few hours or a day after the session, it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So please, you could go directly to the YouTube channel and you will find the recording there, and the PowerPoint will be sent via email. So with that, we head into our objectives of the CCRAF. We are a knowledge to action platform where we look to share a lot of knowledge as it relates to the agricultural sector across the region, also bringing in knowledge from outside the region as well. And so this is a platform and an opportunity where we can share and learn from each other so that we can strengthen our agriculture sector, as food and health is very important for us, especially in the changing climate, especially the financial climate. And so some of the key objectives for us is, as I said, share knowledge of resilient agricultural practices. So it ranges from livestock to crops to soil water management. We're looking at building a community, and important in implementing action, adoption, and seeing results is doing it as a community. And when we do things as a community, we develop common goals, common ideas, common directions, which helps enhance collaboration. And that is where we tend to get common results and even better results, because we are doing it together in a succinct way. And the knowledge is being shared across the region, where we are learning what is working in one country or even in one region of a country that other persons can adopt. Very important for us is not just sharing the knowledge, because it's one thing sharing the knowledge and gaining the knowledge, but it's putting that knowledge into practice, putting it into action. And so if we want to see the results, we need to put it in action. And therefore, one of the key actions for us is translating that knowledge that we share through the webinars, through the various panel discussions and workshops, to action on the ground. And we have now linked that to what we call the CCRAF on the Road initiative. I will provide a few more details about that towards the end of the session. So please stay on so you could get more details about the actions that we are doing as it relates to the CCRAF being on the ground in the country. And so with that, today's session is looking at eco-friendly practices for disease management. We would have looked at, in our last session, pest management, but we do have a lot of diseases affecting this sector. And so today we have with us Professor Adesh, and we have Professor Jayaraj with us. As I said, we gave you an extra session. Now we have 2 professors with us. And so this is an opportunity for you We have the professors here with us. They are very practical. So you're not just going to get all this academic information, but they are very practical, very much on the ground and doing some very interesting research that I believe will be very relevant to a lot of you across the region. And so with that, I ask that during the discussion session, we have them here with us today. It is for free, so please make use of it and interact with them, engage with them, share even your experiences so that we can develop together. So with that, I pass on to you, Adesh and Jaya, so you can say a little about yourselves, and then we will head into the presentation. While they prepare to share their screen, I will be sharing a baseline poll. So you will see it popping up on your screen. And so please take a few minutes to answer those. Well, basically a few seconds. Thank you. Over to you, Adesh and Jaya.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I wonder if you all are seeing my screen.
He's talking.
Hi.
Is yes, go ahead, Adesh.
Are they seeing the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so good morning again. Thank you for joining our presentation. So I am Adesh Ramsubhag, as the chair said, and with me is Professor Jaya.
Hi.
So we are co-leads in the Plant Microbiology, Plant Microbiotech Lab at the Department of Life Sciences in UWI St. Augustine. So we are both in the area of biotechnology and microbiology, and we do research in a wide range of areas like medical microbiology, environmental, industrial. But the major focus for us is in plant disease diagnosis and management. So today we'll be talking a little bit about some work that we have been doing in integrated disease management for the Caribbean. And we'll be talking a little bit first on the challenges of crop production in this region. And then we'll be talking about some background on principles and practices of IDM. And then we'll be talking about some of the research and technological development taking place in our lab. Okay, so basically we know crop production is very challenging in the Caribbean. Apart from difficult soils and challenging climate now, with climate change, we have extreme drought and waterlogging conditions. So basically, as you'll see, we have major challenges, and this is influencing the cost of production. It's very inefficient to produce crops in our region and very costly. And I mentioned about difficult soils and climate, but important, and this is our focus, is the incidence of disease and pests. Okay, we have high levels of pests and diseases that basically contribute to high levels of losses. And then we have a high dependence on synthetic chemicals, both fertilizers and fungicides, pesticides. And this, as you will see, contributes significantly to destruction of environment, as well as it impacts on human health. So basically, we have low yield and low quality as well. And then what we realize is that our farmers basically lack good knowledge on proper production practices. So all of this will contribute to the problems that we are having in the Caribbean. So just to mention of some of the impacts of chemical in crop production in the region. So chemicals pose serious risks to non-target organisms. You target a specific pest, but the specific pest is not only destroyed, but other beneficial organisms are destroyed as well. And then there's accumulation of these toxic residues in the soil, the water, they may get into the air, and these have serious implications on human health. And then there's a range of medical conditions that can affect humans from dermatological, gastrointestinal, neurological. Many of these are carcinogenic as well. And then when we use a lot of chemicals, it encourages the development of resistance. So initially the chemicals will work, well, and then gradually resistance will build up and the pests would not respond positively to the chemicals. So we did some research in Trinidad a few years ago, and this is just showing some of the results. So we see here on our left top, the levels, the frequency of use of fertilizers. These are chemical fertilizers. So we see 2 crops here, and many farmers apply fertilizers once per week. So this is excessive, right? So you can imagine not the crop would not be using all of the pesticide fertilizers, and a lot will be leaching out into the environment. To the right here is the rate of use of insecticides. And if you see here for tomatoes and bodi, we see here many farmers would apply high rates as up to once per week. And some will be applying twice per week. So once per week we think is excessive. Generally, between 10 days and 2 weeks is a standard for the rate of application of these pesticides. And then to the bottom left, we see here similar trends with the rate of application of fungicides. Here, many farmers will be applying once per week as well for both bodi and tomato. And these are just two crops I'm presenting, but the trend holds for many crops grown in this region. And then the last one in the bottom right shows the use of chemicals, right? Either fertilizers or pesticides. And we see here the percent of farmers that rely solely on chemicals as high as 76%. So no, it's not a surprise that we have so much problems related to crop production due to the excessive use of chemicals. All right. So I now pass on to Prof. Jaya, who will give a little background on integrated disease management systems, and then I will come back after that.
Thank you. Yeah. So then, Prof. Ramsubhag talked about what are the difficulties, what are the challenges, and how our crop production is highly chemical dependent. And so it's also is a kind of so redundant because everybody is using the same type of chemicals on and on. And basically, there is not much change in the trend. So what we are going to talk about hereafter is about an integrated method where we are using all the methods that are available. That is basically a multi-pronged strategy where we are not completely forgetting the chemicals. Chemicals are also there, but we are using all other alternative methods wherein chemicals are also going to be a part of it. But the way how we are going to apply chemicals is completely very rational and need-based. So we are not just going to apply, without any need. So it is based on the necessity, and if we find that it is absolutely essential, we go for chemical. But we are going to replace chemicals with all other methods. So it includes biological methods where you will use the beneficial organisms that are already present in the soil or in the crop environment. And all those methods, whichever we use, something like application of organic amendments, organic methods. So they're all, practiced with a sense of a long-term goal or with a vision that it won't work exactly tomorrow, but over time it will work, and then it will create a condition which is sustainable. So that is the beauty of biological control. And the physical control means we have to still, if we find a disease plant, we need to look at it. If it is just 1 or 2 plants highly infested, we need to remove them. We need to rogue them out. So there are several such physical methods which we can adopt, which are mostly manually done. And at the early stages, if we do, it is very effective because it all starts with a single plant. The infection starts with a single plant and then moves around the entire field due to secondary spread. The next one is I would talk about all others and then I will come to chemical. Next one is cultural. So these are all some of the practices which we can implement by way of doing the crop production practices. We don't need to do any kind of new change, but it is just it's a part of the method itself, like crop rotation, sanitation, how we can reduce the disease pressure. And then the agroecological methods where we do all such efforts to improve the long-term sustainability of the soil. Okay, so promoting the diversity of vegetation, improving the resistance. So the plant resistance can be improved by a variety of ways. It doesn't need to be that a plant is resistant, deemed as a resistant variety, but you can improve the resistance just by adding certain inputs which are organic and also very safe. And this can promote the resistance nature of the plant over time. And by that way, we can reduce the level of pests as well as diseases. And also we can reduce the amount of chemical to be added. But lastly, I can also include chemical, because without chemicals, we cannot close the loop, because we are at a stage that we have plenty of pathogens. And no chemical is in ideals, but it's very hard to achieve, and also somewhat expensive, because organic farming, even though it is considered as the best, but it is a little bit expensive to practice and also hard. So I would stand somewhere in between, where we reduce the predominant use of chemicals and then go for judicious application of chemicals. When and where it is required, you just apply exactly in the required amount, so that chemicals will also help in the overall picture of plant protection, where we are using only approved and safer pesticides, which are just targeted to a particular pathogen or pest or a range of pathogens, causing less harm to the environment. So that is the concept of integrated disease management. And when we talk about disease, and also to some extent pest, the starting point is from the soil or from the seed. Okay, so seed contributes to infection in majority of the cases, no matter whether it is a fungal disease or bacterial disease. Now we are at a stage to say that completely all the bacterial diseases are seed-borne. All the bacteria, you can take it as a rule. So many of the fungal diseases are seed-borne. And nowadays, even people suspect most of the viruses are seed-borne, or many of the viruses are seed-borne. What I say that today it is not seed-borne, tomorrow it becomes seed-borne. So this is how things are happening. And once we have a healthy seed, then a healthy crop can be expected. So how to make it healthy? You need to collect seeds from the healthy plants. Or if you don't know what is there is no warranty that a healthy plant, when you collect seed, it has to be healthy. So use some seed treatment method. So that is a method. And you can also check whether the pathogen is present in the seed by some simple methods like seed health testing, like germination test or blotter test, where you can see the level of infection, which is commonly used by different laboratories. And even some farmers, smart farmers, do this. The seed germination assay, which will give you an idea about not alone the germinability, but also the health of the seeds. As I said, the cultural methods of control, it starts with healthy seeds, resistant varieties. Many of the resistant varieties are available here. They are being imported. If it is not here, then we can seek for it. We can ask for it. And we can import it from other places where it is available. Unfortunately, our breeding for resistance is not happening so effectively. So in that case, we need to bring the varieties from outside, which are suitable to our conditions. And growing at a favorable conditions, and time of planting is very important. Weed management, because many of the weeds serve as alternate or collateral hosts for the diseases as well as pests. And proper nutrient management. When you talk about nutrient, do not overfeed the plants with nitrogen, and that will fatten up the plant, but reduce the resilience of the plant to the diseases as well as pests. So you need to use judicious application, judicious levels of nutrients, particularly nitrogen, less nitrogen, but more of potash, and all the micronutrients need to be supplemented so that the plants are getting a balanced level of nutrients. And then use more of organic manures instead of the synthetic fertilizers, because organic manures are very stable and they are long lasting. They stay for a long time, and not alone it provides nutrients, it improves the soil structure, it improves the soil quality, and also they harbor all the beneficial organisms, and these beneficial organisms will form a protective layer over the plant so that it wards off the pathogens. And maintaining the right plant population, not overcrowding, and also maintenance of the plant and soil microclimate, and correct irrigation methods, not over irrigating or under irrigating, and post-harvest conditions. How so maintenance of post-harvest conditions will minimize the post-harvest damage, so that improves the quality of the produce. And the contemporary, when we talk about the disease, we need to know what is a disease and what type of disease it is, and what is the pathogen supposed to cause the disease, so that we can go for a corrective method of management. So there are different types of pathogens like bacteria, fungi, and viruses, and phytoplasmas, and also deficiency disorders. So when you talk about a disease management, you need to have a correct diagnosis. So that is a prerequisite. So there are different methods of diagnosis: the classical method, which is visually assisted, and microscope assisted. Nowadays, we have the advanced methods, which involve the use of proteins as well as the nucleic acids, and the equipment which can just, you do the reaction, then feed it to the machine. Then machine will detect and then diagnose and then say what is the type of disease, or whether it is a disorder. So all these can be done in a mechanized fashion. And also by this way, the accuracy is improved. So this is what nowadays we are following, and we will talk about it in the subsequent slides. And with regard to the physical, chemical, or biological preventative methods, I told you about the seed, clean seed. So use of clean seeds, or make them clean just by adding the chemicals. Here we must add some chemicals. So they are called the seed treatment chemicals, which are very powerful. They are systemic. They go inside the seed and kill the infection right in the seed itself. And you can also use the biological agents. So the biological agents, you may ask a question, how come we mix them together? Don't mix them together. If you want to do the seed treatment with biological and the chemicals, first you do chemical, and then you, after a brief point of time, you can add the biological agents, treat with those bacteria or fungi or together, and then it is pelleted so that it can be planted. And during planting also, we can adopt certain methods like solarization, which is very effective in the small parts of the field, where it can effectively minimize the spread of soil-borne pathogens, or the survival of soil-borne pathogens. As I said, a high nitrogen application favors infection, while potash nutrition can remediate that, and it can reduce the level of disease, and more importantly, make sure that there is no nutrition deficiency, particularly with the micronutrients. So if we manage all these things, much of the diseases can be reduced. And as I said, organic manures are the best, and go for more of organic manures and less of chemical fertilizers. And with regard to the other methods of protection or eradication, so we can go for biological control by using the introduced microbes, which are commercially available. These are beneficial microbes, and you can rotate the crop. This is not being done in our place. People grow tomato after tomato after tomato, the same plant, again and again in different seasons. But we need to break this monotony and then mix with the different crops. That's what we call as a mixed cropping or crop rotation. Removal of the diseased plants, maintaining some sanitation by just removal of the crop debris. So people just leave the dead plants, tomato plants, right in the field, and they start growing the next, something like pepper, hot pepper, or pimento, right under the shade of these dead plants. So they are providing all the pests as well as diseases. Inoculum, it is right there. So you need to safely discard and dispose of the dead plants or the debris before you start the planting for the next season. And as I said, there are chemical treatments, soil treatments like solarization can be done. And if we talk about chemical, it has to be contact. There are different types of chemical, systemic, contact, and different types of chemicals meant for controlling different types of organisms. So we need to be specific. It's not just simply buying something and then spraying, but there must be a rationale why we are applying and what is the target and how it has to be applied. And very importantly, when I talk about the pests, I focus more on the insect vectors. So many of the insects carry the pathogen or infection and then propagate to other plants in the field level. So when you control these insect vectors, then you can control the diseases, particularly the viruses and phytoplasmas are predominantly spread by the insect vectors. So you need to manage the insect vectors by different methods, of which use of chemicals and biologicals play a vital role. And also preserve the natural enemies or conserve the natural enemies. These natural enemies are already present in the plant or in the cropping system, in the soil, and the cropping environment. But only thing is we are applying more of chemicals, and as a result, they run away or they die. So once we minimize and then switch towards more sustainable methods, these pests, these natural enemies like the parasitoids as well as predators and even the fungi will be present. The same way, the microbes that are present in the soil or on the plant surface, the beneficial microbes can be preserved by minimizing the level of chemicals and increasing the level of organic amendments or organic methods we would tend to adapt. When I talk about the chemicals, please bear in mind the color label. So red are extremely toxic, and you should use this chemical only at the early stages, seedling or in the vegetative stage. As and when the plant matures, then your level of application should go down, and also the type of chemical you are going to use after that stage should be less toxic or mild toxic. Okay, so that is how we are arranging here. So in the vegetative stage, you can go for these kind of high toxicant chemicals, and once it moves to flowering and fruit, through initiation and maturing, your level of chemical application should reduce, and also only permitted chemicals can be used. So the points to note, as I said, rational use of chemicals. You go for more biological pesticides, something like neem oil, neem-based products, lectins, and different types of oils, and biopesticides which are available commercially, and biostimulants. These are the new type of products which are not pesticides, but once you apply to the plant, it will prime the plant and immune the plant to the pests as well as the disease. So those are the bioelicitors and biostimulants. So all methods by which you are minimizing the level of chemicals. And as Prof. Ramsubhag said, the level of spray, the frequency of sprays, it has to be 10 days to 15 days, not like weekly, or so some farmers do every 2 days. So those are all very, that is too much, and that leads to all these ill effects. And the correct concentration and the correct quantity, the correct amount of spray fluid, all these things need to be concerned. Do not use the same chemical again and again. It has to be, there must be a cycle. So you need to break that monotony, alternating chemicals with the biologicals. That means you spray 2 biological inputs, and then you can have 1 chemical spray. By this way, you are reducing the chemicals to 1/3 of the current use. So that is the idea, and that is what we are proposing. And farmers who are following this, they are making profit by reducing the level of chemicals, the amount of money spent on the chemicals, and also the value of the product, the quality of the product. Right. As I said, the toxic chemicals can be used only at the earlier stages, but later on, it's not allowed. It's only the contact ones. So now I switch over to to Prof. Ramsubhag to talk about the work going on in our plant microbe laboratory. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jaya. So basically, we have been focusing on disease diagnostics and characterizations of pathogens. And then we look at technology development for developing solutions for managing diseases. So Jaya spoke already about some of the diagnostic methods, but just quickly to add, we in the lab use classical methods where we use a lot of microscopy to observe these pathogens, but we rely a lot on DNA-based methods as well. So basically, we'll isolate the pathogen and extract DNA, and then we use PCR or PCR combined with polymerase chain reaction and PCR combined with sequencing as well. But sometimes what we do as well is extract DNA directly from the disease plant, and then we can do metagenomic DNA sequencing or small RNA sequencing. And this method can detect and identify with great accuracy what pathogen is present. And I'll just give a few examples of how we have used these methods and the interesting results that they have given us. So for instance, in Trinidad, we were told, it's common knowledge in the past that the cucurbits were affected severely by cucumber mosaic virus. So basically, this has implication in terms of varieties that are planted and brought by the seed companies, for instance, and management strategies. But when we were looking at using DNA-based methods to confirm the cucumber mosaic virus, all the results were negative. So then we used sequencing-based approach. And what we realized is that it wasn't cucumber mosaic virus, but we had the zucchini yellow mosaic virus. So that is just one example. And this was very dominant among the cucurbits. And then we developed a rapid PCR-based method to detect and identify this pathogen. But we also did characterization, more detailed DNA sequencing-based analysis. And it showed that our zucchini mosaic virus is a variant. It means that it is different to zucchini viruses found in other parts of the world. Again, we need to find out the implication of this in terms of disease development and severity. And then we can develop suitable management strategies for this virus. Another pathogen we worked with was Xanthomonas campestris. This causes black rot disease in the crucifers. And again, we found in some fields 100% of the strains were resistant to common fungicides, including copper. But when we use traditional or the standard diagnostic techniques to identify what genes are present that confer the copper resistance, the results were negative. It was saying that these are not copper resistant. But when we screen in the lab and when we apply in the field, copper in the field, the disease is very severe. So then again, we applied genomic sequencing techniques. And, we found that the copper genes were very different in our isolates. And also, they were conferring high levels of resistance as well. So we do have unique pathogens in the Caribbean. We also did some work on Ralstonia causing wilt in tomato and in banana as well. So we isolated the pathogen from different fields across the country, and we characterized these strains, and we found different subtypes. Here I only indicated two broad subgroups, what we call phylotype 1 and phylotype 2. And we also looked at the pathogenicity of these strains in a range of different tomato varieties. So this is pretty, not very recent, but just to show the concept, right, and the importance of looking at this type of research, strain characterization, and also looking at how they impact virulence in different varieties. So basically, the phylotype 2 strains were more virulent, and the numbers here represent the percent of plants that were exhibiting wilting in a particular period of time. So the higher percent means the higher the virulence, right? So we see here some varieties respond very, very badly in terms of some strains. So for here, RF11 strain, we see Gem Pride. I don't know if Gem Pride is still in the market, right? But it had very high percent of plants that exhibited resistance. Overall mean, like, this strain here RF12, the average was 61% of plants exhibited wilton. And here another strain, 17, had fairly low levels of virulence. The phenotype 1s were generally low in virulence as well. So what we found, some of these strains were specific to particular fields. So if we know what strains are present in which field, it means that it can influence us in deciding which varieties to plant. So we want to select a variety that is resistant to the strains present in the specific field. We also did some work on integrated disease management, and here we developed different treatment combinations. So we see here on the left T1, T2 up to T9. T9 is a control, untreated control. So T1 treatment, upon planting, for instance, you'll see we added chicken manure, micronutrient, and NPK mix, synthetic chemical, and we selected generally more mild pesticides. We didn't go with the harsh and very toxic chemicals, more the mild ones. Salicylic acid with liquid chicken manure, trichoderma fungal biological control agent, and PF is Pseudomonas, which is a bacterial biocontrol agent. So that's upon planting, then 15 days, we also applied a different combination. Again, some pesticides and some organic inputs. We applied 30 days and 45 days as well, different combinations. So then we observe disease and yield. And here I'm just showing the results on disease. So T1, this is the initial treatment combination. You'll see how significant disease reduction was. And in fact, not only T1, but all the other treatments had significantly reduced levels of disease. And different types of disease we looked at in tomato and other crops as well. I'm just presenting the tomato. Here we see early blight, very, very low levels of disease compared to the green, which is the control. Okay, so control, around 30% of the plants, it's like a disease score of 30. And here the T1 treatment was just about 2 or 3. All right, and all the other treatments also give significant reduction. And you see the same trend or similar trends are the same for other types of diseases. So it means that if we use these type of combinations, we did not want to get rid of the chemical pesticides altogether or the fertilizers, but we reduce it significantly so that the impact of the environment would be very, very low. But at the same time, we get excellent response in terms of managing diseases. Okay, so this is just one of the IDM trials we did, and I'll pass on to Prof. Jaya, who will talk about work that we are doing on development of biostimulants and bioelicitors from Sagasum, and also other types of technology that we are working on.
Okay, so I spoke briefly about the biostimulants. So these are primarily organic products. That means these are developed basically from organic sources, not synthetic chemicals. But even though if you say organic, if you look at in detail, they're all made of molecules. Okay, so these are all organic molecules. So you can say everything is chemical, but still they're all derived from live sources or organic sources. So they are supposed to be safe. And another expectation is that these safe is one thing. Second is they are not like biopesticides, or they are not like something when you apply, it will kill the pest or the pathogen. But rather they interact with the plant, it communicates with the plant, it talks to the plant in a molecular level, and then prime the plant in such a way that the plant is immunized so that it responds in a very in a very robust way to all the pests as well as the pathogens. Not a single disease or not a single pest, but it provides a horizontal resistance or a uniform level of resistance to multiple pests as well as the diseases. And here you can see it improves the plant growth, overall plant growth, and the nutrient absorption, increase the tolerance to abiotic stress also, not just the biotic stress, abiotic stress, enhances the soil microbiome and improve the yields and the quality of the products. So in the biostimulants, we cannot include everything as a biostimulant. No, there must be there's a clear definition for that. That includes extract derived from seaweeds or algae or chitosan or some phenols. And the exception is that some of the salts or inorganic salts are also considered as biostimulants. Okay, certain proteins or the lysates and enzyme extracts. And very importantly, the microbial inoculants, even the live organisms could be called as a biostimulants. When you apply, they contribute to the plant growth and they could be considered as biostimulants. And certain acids, these are all derived from soil and organic sources, and these can also be considered as biostimulants. Right, so I've given you some examples. These are some of the commercial biostimulants, and this is one biostimulant we have derived from sargassum, and which is going to be commercialized soon. And the interested farmers, we are supplying free of cost for the moment as samples, free samples. And these are some other biostimulants which are of microorganismal origin. That means they contain live cells of organisms which are commercially available. About the biostimulant which we have developed, we call it as OJA biostimulant, that is derived from sargassum. You know about sargassum, how it's becoming a big menace for the entire region, and we don't know how to manage it. So we developed one small way, humble way, for which we can use some amount of good, the fresh seaweed, which we can just use it for the developing the biostimulant. So it is completely organic, biosafe, and non-toxic to the environment and safe to the plants. And the method of application is only by spray as well as soil drenching. Yes. Yeah, the amount is 5 ml per liter. So this dissolves completely in water. 5 ml of this biostimulant in a liter of water. It can be sprayed or drenched to soil. So we did extensive trials for over the past 3 years in different crops in different seasons, and we found more or less consistent results when we applied the biostimulant, the seaweed extract, and also seaweed extract, that is the OJA, with the minimum dose of fungicide. That means every 2 sprays of this biostimulant, we did the third one with the fungicide. By this way, we are reducing the level of chemicals to 1/3. That reduced the level of disease. Of course, the seaweed extract itself reduced, but more than that, when we add a small dose of generic fungicide, it reduced the level of diseases, diseases very significantly. Okay, particularly the foliar diseases. This is in this we have done in tomato, sweet pepper, and different crops. Okay, right. And in this one is on tomato, about the fruit yield in both the dry season and wet season. When we used the OJA biostimulant or OJA with a small dose of fungicide, that that gave us significantly higher yields compared to the control. Control means it's not just it's only no biostimulant, but it is the farmer's control where farmers tend to use all the chemicals. So look at this, it's nearly double the yield, nearly. Okay, so that is the benefit of using this biostimulant. And we did extensive studies of how it works in the environment, how it is biosafe, all those things. I'm just giving you one example. What is the mechanism? One of the mechanisms. So when we did the sequencing of all the genes, we found that this biostimulant can upregulate or it can stimulate the expression of genes involved in different metabolic pathways, biosynthesis of the protective molecules, and those that are involved in some carbohydrate synthesis. So many things. So that is a point to be noted. It is not just a fungicide or it is not an insecticide, but it works only with the plant. It is beneficial to the plant. It communicates with the plant and make the plant resilient or resistant. So this is how 1,354 genes are upregulated when you apply this biostimulant. Right? This is in tomato, but we did this in tomato as well as sweet pepper and found consistent results which says that these biostimulants communicates with the plant rather than acting on the pathogen or the pest. So these are some of our the pictures of the trials which we have completed in the hydroponic conditions. This is a control where we spray with water, and here the seaweed extract, 3 extract, 10-day intervals. Okay, so then the crop is over for lettuce. You see the difference. And in the case of chives or onions, see the control versus the biostimulant, seaweed biostimulant. And in the case of celery, and we are working with an organic farmer in San Juan, and she is very happy. And the sprayed plants are growing better than the control ones. It works amazingly well in an organic farming situation. That means she is not using any chemical, only organics, and it is highly suitable for that. Apart from this biostimulant, we have so many ongoing projects how to utilize this sargassum biomass. Biostimulant is just one of the products that can be derived. But if you look at the mountains of sargassum that is landing in our beaches, we need to have better ways of using it at every stage and every part of it. So, we can use for composting and for hydroponics, particularly for the planting materials. We can make it as a planting material, the compressed sargassum material or processed material, and we can use it as a supplement in the fish feed. And we are also doing some studies on the environmental effects of this sargassum as well as sargassum products. And so far, the results are encouraging that they are safe. And we did some fair bit of research on the abiotic stress. Just by applying this biostimulant, they were able to make the plant resilient to drought stress as well as the salinity stress. So that is amazing, and we are continuing our research on this particular direction, how this can be used as an input to remediate the plants from drought stress. And as I said about the biological agents, these are some of the examples of how using the biological agents, which are basically bacteria and fungi, they can promote the growth and also minimize the level of disease. So this is Pseudomonas, which was applied in mustard. You see the control versus the applied or treated one. And begonia, you see the death of the plants, but here the plants are alive and they are bigger. The same in the case with the bacillus in pepper. So you can see how control versus treatment. Okay. So these are the organisms involved. These are all basically the organisms present in the environment. We are not bringing it from somewhere else. These are all already present in the environment, and we are multiplying it and then propagating it and then putting back in the soil, and it does cause this kind of beneficial effects. So this is one of our own work where we applied, start with one organism, a consortium. That means 2 or 3 organisms together, 3 different types of bacteria, beneficial bacteria. We isolated and we multiplied, and then we put back to the soil or to the plant, to the seeds, and that reduced the incidence of stem rot as well as fusarium wilt compared to the control. Look at the control and then the treatment. It's something like black and white, So it is it's very significant. And also it promoted the yields significantly, the fruit yield compared to the control. That means non-inoculated plants. So this is one of our students' work. And this is also another student's work, Jem Thomas, who graduated already, where she used the bacterial strains, and she found that application of these bacterial strains made the plant resilient to drought stress, or they recovered faster, and they are able to tolerate the drought stress when we inoculated these plants or applied these plants in the soil with these strains, and they were able to survive in drought treatment as good as a positive control. Positive control means where you are not going any drought. So under drought treatment, they are able to survive. That means these organisms are providing all the benefits, and even they are able to make the plant to survive better under drought conditions. And she also used some of the phosphate solubilizing bacteria, which are able to promote the growth of the plant compared to the control. So phosphate mobilizing bacteria promotes the root growth, primarily the root growth, and mobilizes the phosphate from the soil. So with this, I want to thank you all. I think we have gone a little bit over time, but thanks for your patience and your kindness. So with this, we conclude, but we are open to questions. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Adesh and Jaya, for this presentation. I'm sure we do. We already have some questions coming in. And we did already have some questions from the registration. So I see your hand was up, Roop. You want to give the first go?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor, for your presentation. I'm in the system more than 55 years.
Wow.
So,
Then you are also a researcher for us.
I just want to share this book on natural crop protection in the tropics. I don't know if you have seen it, how we can. The CTA publication by Stone.
Stone, that's a recent publication?
No. It's a long publication. It's let me see the date on it here. It's a few years ago.
It's about what climate change.
A book.
Apple?
It is a book.
Oh, okay.
I have a book on it, right? With
Yeah.
all the uses of neem and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could share the link to that, or where it can be accessed, Roop?
I will have.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I
I don't want to
vote for
take too
neem,
much
huh?
of time.
I can vote for neem. You can use neem for everything. For most of the pests, it works well. Both sucking pests as well as feeding pests. Neem oil as well as a neem seed extract, and the principles are extracted and then available, the alkaloids and all those components and nimbicidine, and they're all commercially available. And unfortunately, this neem is very popular in the entire Asia, and India produces plenty of that, and it has to be imported. What I say, even though we have the neem tree here, we are not using it properly. And you can do it. You can extract oil and then spray. All the neem products, including the neem seed cake extract, all of them are pesticidal. Okay, and very safe, absolutely safe. And you can apply to soil. And when you apply to soil, it promotes the beneficial organisms and it kills the grubs, the soil-borne insects. Yeah.
Thank you very much. But a nature-based solution, Professor, when I go out to the field, I do not see a neem tree in any plantation. You hardly ever see it.
We need to grow.
Yeah, not anymore.
You're not seeing it. And then a major gap in your presentation here is land preparation.
Yeah.
You address the issue of field sanitation,
Yes.
but we are very poor in land preparation, especially drainage.
Yeah.
We do not have what we have lost, the skill, the natural indigenous skill of digging drain.
Yeah.
It is replaced by a tractor with a shallow drain, and so that you would have water settling in your farm, settling in your field.
Yes.
And you have white bed. I see in your presentation there where you have this plastic and whatnot there doing the lettuce, but it is a big area without drains. You do not have 10 feet white bread or anything of the sort. So you are setting yourself in a trap, and we have entrapped ourselves for too long. And what we get also is that a dependency of the chemical shop solving your problems.
Yes.
I have not seen an extension officer for more than 40 years. And they are not there. So farmers are misled.
Yes, you have been in agriculture for 60 plus years, you said. Then for me, for me, you are a scientist. So you learned everything by experience. So you can advise better and influence your own friends. Okay. And
Yes,
with regard to land preparation,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. So you
well,
can
me tell you,
influence. Yeah, yeah.
let me tell you, I started my PhD next week at UE, so we
Okay,
can
very
chat.
good. Welcome.
Okay, thanks for that. Thanks very much for that, Roop, and all the best with your PhD studies. Definitely looking forward to some of the work you'll be doing there.
Thank you very much. I look forward to assistance from Aika in the region when I'm doing my data collection.
Lovely, lovely. So
All the best.
all the
Thank,
best.
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Okay, I see we'll take Peter and then we'll take one of the questions from the chat. Go ahead, Peter.
Thank you very much. My question is with regards to the collection and preparation of sargassum for use in the fields, in terms of all the benefits that I've been listening to you present, the collection and actually the utilization once it's collected. Are you prepared to actually be used in your field?
So yeah. So
Because I know it
basically,
comes with a lot of salt from the sea.
Yes, yes.
yes.
You need to clean it, huh?
We
You
need
need
to
to
rinse,
yeah, you
yeah.
need to rinse and remove the salts. And also our suggestion is collect early on, fresh, and then dry, clean and then dry for yourself and prepare the compost. It is not a good idea to put it on the field right away. It cannot be used as a mulch. Huh? Please understand, it cannot be used as a mulch. So once you use as a mulch, the leachates from the sargassum are not beneficial, really beneficial to the plant. But once you decompose it and prepare a compost, then that is beneficial. So some people, they are a little over enthusiastic and then they collect the sargassum and then throw it over the field. Actually, that is not beneficial and it takes too long to decompose. It has to be decomposed and use it as a compost.
It shouldn't, yeah, you should collect it before it starts to rot.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so fresh from the sea.
Fresh.
Yeah, as much as fresh or dried ones, completely dried ones is also okay. But the one that is rotting is not so good.
All right, appreciate that. In the islands, it appears, well, as more as a pest, so to speak.
Yes, it is a pest.
It
is a pest.
soaks off the sea where other plant life and animal life, fish and the coral reef, etc., are present. And people complain, oh, the stench to this and that. And I'm like, there must be a use for this, you know. So it's good to hear what you're speaking about in this presentation. And I look forward to actually utilizing it going forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much for your question, Peter. So I'll just take one of the questions. Of course, please feel free to raise your hands if you have any questions. You could also put in some of your questions in the Q&A. Of course, this is your opportunity there. You feel free to share some of your experiences. As we are discussing diseases, so, we have the professors, they are doing a lot of research. They have shown you some of the research they're doing. So, if you have experiencing some difficulties as it relates to diseases, please feel free to ask, or you have some concerns, please feel free to ask your questions. And so one of the questions, someone is asking for some, in terms of, adopting some of those eco-friendly practices. So from your experience, how do you go about encouraging farmers to adopt eco-friendly practices when in many cases the transitions tend to require a major shift in farmers' mindset? So, based on your experiences, how has that worked?
Well, I think one of the drivers could be cost, because other these chemical inputs, the prices have skyrocketed. And if we could develop local technologies as what we are doing, and I know there are others in the Caribbean who have commercial products in the market, like the biostimulants, certainly the prices would be more competitive than the chemical inputs. So that is just this is one driver. I think we need more promotion, more extension services. And I know Mr. Roop made that mention before about issues related to that kind of service from our ministries. But one challenge our extension officers have is that they don't get independent data. So we are not doing a lot of independent research, let's say by the ministries themselves. So they have to rely on data from other farmers, and the other farmers are relying on the chemical companies.
Yes.
So we are going in a circle. So we need some sort of strategy where we have extension officers properly trained and are fed independent data on all of these technologies. And then hopefully the farmers would probably be more open to adopt the technology.
Yeah. And can I do one more thing, a couple of things, again, based on the question of Mr. Roop. He was talking about neem. So he cannot find a neem in the neighborhood, but you can see neem. If you need neem, you know, I'm growing one tree. I have plenty neem plants growing. So we all need to attach a value to the neem tree. So neem tree is a natural remedy for so many things, you know, for humans and animals, and so by extension to plants and everything. And that underscores the importance of local resources. So many of the things we need to explore, starting with the beneficial plants, those plants which can yield a pesticide, natural pesticide, biopesticide, and then going up to the microbes. All these biostimulants, Ramsubhag said many of them are imported. Why? We can locally source from our own biological resources. The same way the biopesticides, which are basically microbes, whatever we import, there is no guarantee they have to be successful here, because they're all, you know, put into an alien environment. They may or may not be successful. So we can develop our own strains. But what is the difficulty here is the challenges of the funding and a type of dedicated research. We are doing it in a way that whenever we have time, we have an opportunity, we just work on it. To happen in a systematic manner, there must be a system. And coming to the farmers need to be a little more proactive by educating themselves and listening to workshops like this, or getting an opportunity to upgrade their skills and knowledge base, and then you know, make a path towards revolution. Because if we just depend on the ministry or anybody else to come and help you, I think absolutely there is nobody to help you. They all want to fill up their pockets. No, I mean, when you go to the chemical shop, they want to sell you only the chemicals, not the alternative stuff. They want to make profit, because that is where the profit is. So farmers' education, farmers' knowledge, farmers' understanding has to improve. And that happens only by reading, by learning, by either formally or informally. So that is where we need to start. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So education and, you know, those continuous awareness needs to continue, because we always need to be, you know, reminded of things. So I think that needs to continue a bit more. So that is an important area as well. Thank you so much for that. So we do have a few other questions. Why do you have to alternate chemicals so often?
Yes, these chemicals, they are, if you look at the mechanism of action, they work on 1 or 2 gene targets. Okay, so these type of narrow action, narrow gene targets, narrow target on the insects, when you apply again and again, then that will favor the mutation or change in the genotype or change in the phenotype. That means a pest or a disease which is earlier used to be susceptible to the chemical becomes resistant. So due to adaptation as well as the change in the genotype, the mutation rate happens faster when you use the same chemical again and again. But once you break the monotony, use another chemical, then those that are mutated, they will die. So you are not giving a chance for the mutants to survive. So that is why do not use the same chemical again and again. Have at least 2 or 3 chemicals in the list. So go by a rotation. So once you go by the rotation, they are not constantly subjected to the same pressure, but the pressure is different from different chemicals, so that will minimize the development of resistance.
And rotate not brand names. You have to rotate based on the chemical
exactly.
type.
That is well said. That is just a chemical. What type of chemical?
Type, yeah.
And another thing we can do is do not grow. I spray one chemical this week and another chemical next 10 days. No, that two chemicals should be different, completely different. One could be a fungicide and one could be a pesticide. Or you can go for one chemical and then the next spray is a biological and then the next chemical. So this is how we need to rotate by all possible means.
Okay, thank you so much for that response there. And so, of course, the food we eat affects our body. So someone wants to know, what are the effects on humans when we consume the plant or its product that have had biostimulant supply, if there is any?
Yes. Based on the data, it is insignificant or not detectable. Not detectable. But it depends on what type of biostimulants. But most of the biostimulants are claimed to be safe because they are all tested. And we have tested our biostimulant, whether it is toxic to insects, toxic to insects like bees, toxic to earthworm, toxic to fish, and they are not toxic even at a higher levels. That means they are guaranteed to be safe. And if you ask a question, whether we are eating the product which is contaminated with the biostimulant, even with that, there is no effect. So the best advice is just a kind of a common sense approach. Whatever we eat, whatever we cook, we just wash it properly, not to get rid of just this biostimulant, but more toxic fungicides and pesticides. So once you adapt that, everything will be relatively clean. Yeah.
And note the application rate is very low as well.
Yes.
5 mils per liter. So that is very, very dilute.
Yeah.
And we tested it against, we tested it for toxicity effects against a wide range of organisms at very, very high concentrations. And there were no detrimental effects.
Basically, there are toxins, toxicants. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I see we have, before group, we will take Michael. Michael, go ahead. While we have Michael on, I know some persons have to leave, so I'm going to launch the feedback poll. So that will pop up on your screen. So take a few minutes to answer those. And so Michael, please go ahead with your question. Are you there with us, Michael Nichols? Okay, while Michael probably try to sort out his mic, I see we also have Kadian. Kadian, are you there with us?
Yes. Hi, good morning.
Go ahead.
Morning.
Hi, my name is Kadian from St. Kitts and Nevis. I was wondering, in terms of the biostimulant that you are presenting on this morning, is there a re-entry or a time frame that is recommended for you to use the plant after it has been applied to the plant?
Because it's a safe product, we haven't really established that as yet. But I think that the withdrawal period should be very, very short.
Okay, and just to go back.
How long we should wait before consuming the plants?
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's a good question. It is there is no such withdrawal period because its toxicity is very low. If I were to say specifically, it should be very lower than the chemicals. Yes. Okay, so for the chemicals, for some chemicals it's a week, and for some chemicals it's 2 days or 3 days. For this, maybe a day should be more than enough. Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of the neem, you made mention of that earlier. I know that the neem has a multi-sprung mode of action. How does that affect the effectiveness of the neem oil?
Yes, it has first, it acts as an anti-feedant. It doesn't give a favorable, feed. Anything sprayed with neem oil or neem product, insects won't like it. It also acts as a repellent. Okay, So that repellent is due to both the neem as well as once it is applied to the plant, the plant also responds. Anything sprayed on the plant responds. So there is some repellent action. Third is how it affects the pest once it swallows. There are so many, as you said, there are multiple actions. It affects molting, it affects the neurologically, and it also affects the digestion patterns. So it's not a single thing. There are so many effects observed, and again, it depends on the type of pest. For each type of pest, the type of action might be different. But the general thing is, it is effective. It is very potent. It is also potent. It is effective and also potent. That means it has a long-term action. Okay, so particularly the neem oil and others, it forms a coating or a film over the plant, so it'll stay for a while. And another thing is, when you apply these products, you can sometimes you can go for overdose. There won't be any toxicity seen. Number two is, some farmers who are so enthusiastic, they apply very frequently, and that is also not too detrimental, because all these neem products are beneficial. It kills more the pests than the beneficial insects. If you say it is pesticidal, you should ask the question, to what pests? Only to the pests, but not to the beneficial organisms. Yeah.
And in terms of pests getting resistance to neem oil, is that
Did you see
likely
anything like
based
that?
on?
I
Sorry?
don't know. What do you say? There is resistance or going to be
No, I'm
resistance?
asking because it's such a multi-prong kind of mode of action. How
Yeah.
likely is it for pests to become resistant to
No,
the neem oil?
no, it is very difficult for establishing resistance to neem oil, because it is
Okay.
not a single component. There are half a dozen components. So development of resistance with such a input or chemical is very difficult. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for your questions and the responses there. Michael, I saw you unmuted your mic. Are you still there with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Lovely. Go ahead with your question, please.
Yeah, the first thing I want to talk about is the extension part of agriculture. Now, I'm agrarian. I have been working, I work in extension for 36 years straight, working in extension. And what it is in extension now in related to farmers are totally different to, let's say, 10, 15 years back. Today, extension are more likely might be collecting production data. That might be the main thing they do. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And the farmers now have been bombarded by a lot of chemical produce companies.
Yes.
Who are telling us that if we use this together with this and that, with that seed, you are going to get such and such. I have been involved in research to find out, doing my own local thing that I know 30 years back, using things like good compost and using simple things like neem and baking soda and so forth, costing me so much cheaper, and my yield compared to my neighbors are much higher, and they yet still doesn't understand that these chemical companies are only ripping them off.
Yes.
Let me go further to give you an example. I have been on one of the chat of one of the chemical company. And then when I brought up that information to them and tell them, look, you all told us if we do this and we do that, look what the yields in hot pepper are going to be. I say, I can show you the fact that when I mentioned the guy who they had done an experiment with, and I compare it to mine, and I say, I make more than 50% yield using cheaper methods. They take me off the chart because I mentioned of that. So I know for a fact these people are only to make money and not really to see the interest of our farmers. Look at fertilizer. Today, fertilizer become like, imagine a man with a 1 acre plot will go and buy 10 bags of the different fertilizer. When he gonna finish use that? And if you understand that we are just dumping inputs and not getting results, and farmers are not understanding because the education system in agriculture has changed. And so we need to find a way of getting the extension department more proactive. But I know for Grenada it's very difficult because you see, when the group of extension officers that is there now are people who are brought in for a special project, and they keep them because there was no kind of succession planning in extension. We have matured and left the service those in my time, and there was no replacement. So it is very difficult in Grenada. I don't know for the other countries.
And they all still need us.
Okay.
Yes.
I said, but you finish? So
No.
we want to
So
start laughing. I said,
That's
no, I don't.
that's it
so
for you, Michael. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. I'm
I
getting
need to wait
some
on that.
crossover from some. Who do
yeah,
I
somebody else is speaking. So what I'm saying now, we need to educate people on the misuse of chemicals in general.
Definitely, Michael. Couldn't agree with you more. And as I was saying before, the extension offices are also challenged. We don't really have enough investments in agriculture. So the ministries of agriculture, I doubt they get sufficient funds to do independent trials.
Exactly.
So they are forced basically to collect data, and try to influence and guide farmers based on the knowledge that they pick up on the field itself, and not in a systematic way.
Yes.
And the conditions are, things are dynamic in agriculture. So for instance, one day you might have a chemical pesticide working, and the next day, next week, next month, next year, it will completely fail. So it means that the technology has to be constantly updated.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
the only way we could do that is with constant research. And feeding that data through the agriculture system back to the farm.
Yes. Yes.
And that is not
absent,
working here. That is completely absent.
And
Yeah.
that causes a vicious cycle, and that's what's happening now. It's a vicious cycle. It's hard to break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, lovely. Thank you so much, Michael, for that input there. Of course, if you have any, ways that some of these things could be implemented, of course, persons are open to some of these discussions. Anyway, you feel probably the CCRAF could assist in terms of the knowledge, and so on, then all feel free to reach out to us. So possibly, how through the CCRAF we can improve some of those things, get some of those information out there. Thank you so much for your input, Michael.
You're
Rup,
welcome.
thanks. Rup, you had another question?
Yes, thank you very much. I just want to share 3 points here. Is that if we are looking at sustainable development and sustainable agriculture, we have 3 major constraints. One is that most farmers operate on marginal degraded soils. 2, we have a situation with land tenure. And 3, we have a issue with succession planning. If you do not have land tenure, you would continue using high level of pesticide for immediately, right?
Yes,
If
correct,
you do not have a successor for your project, you have very little interest in sustainable development.
Yes, yes.
And if you're in poor land, degraded type of land, we need to train our people to how to ameliorate and manage this type of soil for smallholder farmers and integrated with a lot of nature-based solutions. Thank you very much.
Completely agree.
And you should be in the ministry. I wish to see you in the ministry. You can
I left the ministry in 1985.
Oh.
I graduated in 1971.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I'm
Rup.
only 77.
Okay.
Of course. Definitely looking to, get some of that, experience out of you, Rup. So you never know, we might be reaching out to you soon. So you can share a lot of these experiences that you have had in the sector with us, okay? And thank you so much for your input. So we have some more questions I will take from the chat. So that question is focused a bit on the saga. So what treatment on the saga is required before using it in crop farming, and how should it be applied? I know that part you would have spoken a bit that, it should not be used in the raw or untreated. form.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So as you were saying that it should be properly composted if you have to use composting. Then for the development of the biostimulants, you need freshly collected material, properly dried, and then we can, carry out our process of extracting the compounds. It is also noted that sargassum has high levels of heavy metals. We are currently working on methods where we can remove some of these metals. We have gotten some good results so far, but we still have more to do. So once we are complete with that project, we will make that data available as well. Noting that, yes, we know that sargassum can have high levels of heavy metal. Other types of organic products are also, in fact, it might even be higher than sargassum, like chicken manure. So we have to also take that into consideration, yes, we say that sargassum compost may have high heavy metals, but we all use chicken manure, and the levels of heavy metals in chicken manure can actually be higher than much higher than sargassum.
Okay, thank you. I don't remember who this question was from. So the person is happy to know that there is an organic liquid nutrient. I think they were speaking to the neem that can be used in a hydroponic system. The person wanted to know where it can be purchased, but we would need to, I guess you could try some agro shops. But the person wanted to know if you could give them a formula for preparation. I think that may have been for the neem.
Unfortunately, our product is proprietary, so we have a lot that went on to the development of the formula. So we'll get the product in the market soon, but we will not be able to share the formulation.
Okay, so the product is not fully out yet, but of course
But we can
it will
give
be out
samples,
soon.
Yeah,
we can provide free samples.
We can provide free samples for testing and for getting
performance.
feedback.
Okay, so we'd need to find out where this person is from. If you could open your mic. I don't quite remember who that question was from, but of course our professors are based in Trinidad, so you can feel free to reach out to them.
Sorry, if I may interject.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that St. Kitts and Nevis would be willing and open to get some free trials as well. That's something I can discuss with my PS and probably see how we can organize that.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, we appreciate that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So that is from Kadian. I was pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you. So
yes,
right.
yeah.
Okay, lovely. We do have, just for information, Rup and Michael Charmaine would like your contact. So I guess you could send her a message privately in the chat. So I guess she has further things that she would like to discuss on the topic with you all. We also have someone from St. Lucia is saying that there's a serious problem with fungus attacking yams. And they want you to find out if you have done any kind of research as it relates to yams and some of the diseases in yams.
Unfortunately, we haven't done any research in yam, but we are also always willing to work with farmers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's leaf. It might be a leaf spot.
We know the diseases that are affecting yams. We can identify it. Yeah.
Yeah. But that is
It
just
might
one.
be yam rust.
Rot.
Yam rust.
Okay.
Rust.
Yes.
Oh,
okay,
rust.
all right. Yeah.
Oh, that is a unique one. That is not a very commonly observed disease. It is very unique. Yes. So if it is a rust, I think the control has to be only by chemicals. Yeah.
So I guess more information would be required.
Yes.
Or something.
No, if it is really rust, that we need to verify, and we can look around. Yeah.
You can contact us. And then we will be able to give some guidance on how we can confirm the identification.
Yes. Okay, lovely. Thank you. Right. So now we are with again, fungal diseases. Do you have any solution for fungal diseases such as anthracnose, which is a major problem in fruits and vegetables?
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, anthracnose is becoming a serious issue lately, not before. I think for the past 5 or 6 years, is gradually increasing, particularly in sweet pepper and tomatoes, and it affects in the later season. So choice of sowing date or planting date matters, and particularly in the dry season, it is becoming very serious. So time of planting is one thing. Second is we can always go for some resistant types. Seeds are being imported, which they say is tolerant to anthracnose. That you can go for. Many of the hybrids are supposed to be tolerant. So we need to pay a little more money for buying those seeds or seedlings. We can do that. And second, and the next thing is the sanitation is very important. This anthracnose survives partly in the debris, mostly in the debris and partly in soil. So as soon as the crop is over, you need to, uproot all the dead twigs and dead plants and heap at a place and burn it or safely discard it. If it is sitting in the field, that means you are definitely guaranteed that next season you are getting it, because it stays there. It makes a fruiting body, and this fruiting body can survive for months.
Okay.
When the raindrops fall on the surface or through the rain splashes, it opens and the spores will be released, and these spores will be carried in the rain splashes. So sanitation is an important thing. Normally farmers keep all the dead plants right in the field the previous season. So that can answer to it. And in the worst case, we also need to go for some specific fungicides. Okay. And unfortunately, in the fruiting, it affects affects the fruit. So you cannot apply too much fungicide to the fruit, but do the fungicide spray during the vegetative stage, because it starts with the leaf and then goes to the fruit. Okay, and the vegetative stage, you can increase the pesticide, the fungicide spray with a certain type of fungicides, and then you won't see much of infection in the fruit. Fruit infection is very serious, where you cannot sell it. It makes a really big spot, and they ripe in the ripe fruits, and then they start to rot, and you cannot sell it. Yeah.
And the pathogen in fruits, many of them would penetrate at an early stage.
Early stage, and they're all seed-borne, huh? They're all seed-borne.
So the infection can be latent, it's there, but it's not observant, not seeing symptoms. But once the fruit ripens, then it will manifest. So you have to, you have to manage or spray early in the cycle of the crop.
And also the clean seeds. And I told you about the seed treatment. Those are all simple things, but very effective. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have one last question, and actually, person basically looking for some services. So the person, wait, but sorry, before I head to that, I saw Jesse, you had your hand up. Did you want to say anything?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I'm representing from Jamaica, right? So currently, I'm in a set of research trials with sweet yam, soft yams, and the anthracnose and the yam rust is one of the major pests that really affects the vegetative part of the plant, and also the availability of sweet yams too as well in Jamaica. So what we are currently doing, we start out with the mini set technology, right? And we have gone at some sets with the multiplication of using the mini set, and then we heading into now production. So we are in the nursery stage, but in the nursery stage, we observe that with the onset of with the increased rainfall in different areas, we have more severe cases of controlling the anthracnose at this stage, because as what the professor just mentioned a while ago, the rainfall opened the spores and spread them a lot, and this has caused a serious decline with the production of sweet yam in Jamaica, right? And sweet yam is one of the most, I would say, most loved yams by many, and in high demand for other countries, just like the yams that they plant in Africa and other countries. You know, so what we are aiming at is to help the farmers to really achieve full control of the anthracnose, the onset of the anthracnose, so that they can continue with the multiplication of the sweet yam so that more planting materials can be achieved. So if I can get some assistance with information that is relevant to keep this strategy going, and aid with the minister technology using it as a means to multiply the planting material so more available sets can be available for farmers to multiply. I would appreciate all the information necessary from the professors and persons who might have greater experience than I am in that area, because I'm just a trained agriculturalist, learn how to control a pest, but there are some scientific facts that are way above my level, and I'm open to information so I can learn these techniques and how I can improve on the quality of produce that is being distributed.
Okay, thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, we are here, so you can contact us. You know, we haven't done work on YAM as we mentioned, but we are always willing to provide some assistance and broad guidelines on how you can approach, you know, the way forward to try to come up with a solution. And I don't think there's any breeding program in the Caribbean, right? For yam.
Most of the crops,
yeah, and that is a problem. You know, we need to constantly. So this is one thing that we need. Pathogens constantly evolve and change, and we are using the same technology, same varieties and same methods to control. What is needed? We have to be surveillance. We have to do surveillance and monitoring of different strains and pathogens. We have to understand the evolution before it becomes a major problem. So if we are doing constant monitoring and surveillance on disease, the pathogen and the strains, we can know, all right, you know what? A new strain is sort of now started. It is more resistant to the common chemicals that we're using. Let's come up with a strategy before it becomes a major problem. So this is what we are not doing. We are waiting until it becomes an unmanageable problem, and then we are going to try to come up with solutions. And there's a long gap, you know, by the time you can come up with a workable solution. Again, the need for continuous research and you know, and increased resources for our agricultural sector.
Okay, so we'll take this final question and then we'll go into the wrap-up session. So again, as I mentioned, was somewhat requesting a survey. So the person said that they developed a liquid-based manure using natural components, but they are hesitant to use it because they're not sure percentage of nutrient, if they could get help in getting it tested, or if you're aware of somewhere that do those sorts of testing. If the person could say where they're from, so that could probably help identify probably if there is a lab or something that you could submit it to for testing.
I'm not sure if liquid manure is subjected to any sort of stringent regulation. It's not a pesticide, right? So if it's a pesticide, then it has to go through.
It's from St. Vincent.
Right. And I know there are liquid manure in the market. So what will probably be more important is testing the performance of the product and try to vary the formulations and so on. But I'm not sure if there is any tests you can do on the product itself.
Okay.
If you want to do testing, the component analysis of the product, better you send it to a lab, you know, particularly in USA or Canada, where they have all the facilities. You know, within the Caribbean, we don't have a lab, a single lab, which is doing all the tests for all the elements or nutrients. And in fact, we are sending all our samples to outside, particularly to Canada or USA. So
yeah, what will be important though is that the compost must be properly made. It should be properly composted. You cannot be using it, semi-composted, because in that case the
pathogens
will be there. So if the compost is prepared properly made, then there should be no harmful organisms.
Okay. Do you have any recommended lab that the person could consider abroad? For that?
These labs are all basically the land grant universities. They always have a lab, and their pricing is not too high. There are also some private labs. You can just simple Google search will help.
Okay.
They're as close as in Miami. Yeah.
Okay, so could probably do a search in terms of what's available closest in Miami.
They have a cost as a package or for individual elements, so you can go for whatever you are interested. Yeah. You need to shop around. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. We did have other questions, but they were on the pest side, but this session is based on diseases. The pest session was our last session, but this session we focused on diseases, not pests. So we won't take those questions, but we could always send you some responses via email for those persons who ask some questions as it relates to some pests, because we really focused on, our professors today are focused on diseases, and that's where the area of work is. So with that, we have come basically to the end of the presentation and the discussion. For those of you who have not answered the feedback poll, just check on your screen, and if you could respond to that for a few minutes. And so before I go to the wrap up, Jai and Adesh, is there anything that you all would like to just add before we close off?
Well, yeah, so we have been working in this area for, a significant length of time. We have some products, we'll be happy if, we get cooperation by farmers to help test our product so that we can, show that it is working and is good across the Caribbean. And we are here, in case anybody needs any sort of guidance or assistance. We will try our best to provide that type of assistance wherever possible.
Okay. Thank you so much, Profs, for this presentation, and thank you to everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate you, being with us today with this engaging discussion, the sharing of the knowledge. And I do hope that persons, are utilizing the information shared with them, or at least sharing it with other persons. We said the awareness is important. I know it's not everybody is always available to join these sessions, but you have garnered a lot of information. And so I do hope that you share it with your fellow farmers, your fellow workers, your friends, family, so that we can implement some of these practices. And so one of the things I would like to indicate and be clarified in terms of the webinar series, we would have added a +1. And so it would have been 4 sessions this year. And so we will be providing the certificate of participation. Of course, this will be awarded to persons who attended at least 2 out of the 4 sessions. So you will get that within a few weeks, because I have to go through everything and put it together. So you will get your certificate of participation by email within a few weeks, okay? So that is for persons who had attended the 4-part sessions. As I mentioned before, we are celebrating 10 years of the CCRAF, and the name has been Caribbean Climate Responsive Agriculture Forum. And as you realize, we have, moved beyond just the climatic issues, because this is not the only thing affecting us in the region. You have pests and diseases, you have a lot of other challenges within this sector, and we felt it, the opportune time to rebrand so that it can be more holistic and, to address a lot more of the challenges that are being experienced in the region. And so we are going through the rebranding, and we have, you know, invited persons to be part of that rebranding, because the forum is for you. It's for persons across the region. And so we want you to be part of that process. So I am going to put the link in the chat where you could select the name. As also, we want to keep the CCRAF as all our domains are already CCRAF. So if you could come up with something very holistic that looking at the agriculture sector as a whole, not just climate issues, please feel free to, you know, CCRAF, please feel free to, you know, recommend to us, you know, a name. And then at the end of August, so we will be closing that off at the end of August. The link is in the chat. And so please feel free. We close it off end of August, and then we will be sending it off with all the names that we got that aligns with CCRAF for persons to vote. And the name that gets the most vote will be the new name of the CCRAF. And as I said, of course, it has to be more holistic, not just focused on, you know, on climate. So this is one of the things for us. Of course, very exciting for us also is that we are having the CCRAF on the Road initiative. And so the first part of that, in collaboration with the ICA office in Jamaica, from requests from the Ministry of Agriculture and the Department of Land Management, we would have had a session, a CCRAF on the Road in Jamaica. And so we do have other upcoming sessions. And so what I will do, we have a short promotional video, and I will put my colleague on the spot to probably come in and give a few more information, Chani. So prepare yourself, Chani. So I'll share the video for persons who were not able to see it. It is on our YouTube channel. And we have various partners. So we are seeking persons to partner it with us to be on the road. So we are going and be there in person, and we'll be reaching out to you, our CCRAF family. You know, we might have some pop-up areas and, you know, invite you to join us based on the sessions that we are doing, and to engage and network with each other and meet each other in person. These sort of interactions are also important. So I'll just share the video now. Okay, thank you so much for staying on with us. And so basically what we're looking for is for persons to partner with us. I would have shared this via email. If you did not receive it, please let me know. We could always share it with you. The video is on our YouTube channel. We also have a partner sponsor package. You have a financial component to it, and you have an, what we call a community ally, where you provide, if you are able to provide, any kind of technical support. So we will be visiting St. Lucia in September, we'll be in St. Kitts at Caribbean Week of Agriculture also in September. In October, we're looking to be in Antigua, and November, we're looking to be in Dominica. And so we have free packages. And so please feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in being on the ground with us and engaging in some of the practical actions. So some of the key things we're looking at is some trainings, on-farm trainings. We're looking at on-farm actual implementation of some of the initiatives, some of the technologies. We're also looking at youth and children engagement with the schools. We're looking at having, some partner meetings and mixing that up with a bit of musical, and entertainment, linking the agriculture sector to the music and the arts. So we do look forward to, partnering with some of you and meeting with some of you on the ground. So with that, we, as I placed
just
in the
before
chat,
you go, could you kindly repeat the Jamaican dates, please? Sorry, I missed it.
The Jamaican date has already passed, as it was a request we got from the ministry and the ICA office in Jamaica. So we had that collaboration there. So that has already passed. That was in July. And so this was a bit of a test run for us to, build up on the others upcoming. But definitely this is not just for this year. This will be coming up again next year. So we're looking to continue it next year and visit some of the other countries. And if there are requests from some of the countries we have been, we're definitely looking forward to that. And so, as I mentioned, we have several platforms where information can be found. And so we have the website. We also have the various social medias, Facebook, X, LinkedIn. We also have the YouTube channel, so you don't have to wait on me to email you. The recording will be uploaded there. And we have our repository to be able to access some of the documents like the PowerPoint, any reports and so on. And so please feel free to, follow some of these sites so you can keep updated. I know it can be a lot to always receive so much of these emails. So just please feel free to follow and, go on there off and on. And if you have any questions, please also feel free to email us. So we will keep in touch. We will keep you updated, whichever countries we are visiting. Definitely Grenada. We will have Grenada on our mind for possible next year. So we do look forward for some of the countries that we will be in to meeting some of you. So with that, I'd like to say thank you, Prof. Adesh and Jaya, for your presentation today. And thank you to all of you for joining us. And coming up, we do have some special editions coming up where partners have reached out to us to present some sessions. So in September 10th, we'll have the ICA offices in the Eastern Caribbean states. We'll be presenting a webinar on digitalization in the agriculture sector. We will be also having Miss Laura. We would have had a session with her with the Carib Farm app in terms of farmers accessing information. She will provide an update on that app and where they are and how to access it and how to be able to access information. And we do have a few more. Possibly we will be having a collaboration with some of our African counterparts. And so we do have lots coming up and we do look forward to sharing those with you. So again, thank you and do wish all of you a lovely afternoon and end of the week. So do take care. And if anything, please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks again, everyone. All the best. Bye.